In this video, I'm going to talk about what I call QASI and ASI questions. Look at these questions. Can you see a pattern? What music does he like? Where do your parents live? Why do you get up so early? Who did you meet at the party? Can you see that all the questions have a similar pattern? Let me show you in a table. So you can see all of them start with a question word like what music, where, why or who. Then there's an auxiliary verb, do, does or did. Then we have the subject, then the infinitive, and sometimes there are some other words. QASI, question, auxiliary, subject, infinitive, or QASI. QASI is a way to help you remember the structure of questions in the present and past simple. Many questions follow this pattern, but not all of them. Do you remember what the letters mean? What about Q? Q is the question. And A? A means auxiliary verb. That's do, does or did. What's S? S is the subject. And I? I is the infinitive. The auxiliary verb means a little helping word. It doesn't give the main meaning of the sentence. And the infinitive is the basic dictionary form of the word, but without to. Let's look a little bit more at auxiliary verbs. So, in present simple questions, the auxiliary verb is do or does. We use does for he, she and it, or Peter or Jane or the dog, anything singular. We use do for I, you, we and they, or the children or my parents, something plural. In past simple questions, the auxiliary is did. This one is easy to remember because it's always did in the past. Now, ASI questions. Look at these questions. What's the pattern? Does he prefer coffee or tea? Do you have any pets? Does it rain a lot here? Did anybody find my phone yesterday? What's the pattern in these questions? Let's have a look. So this time we have an auxiliary verb, a subject, an infinitive, and usually some other words, but not always. So it's the same as QASI, but without the Q, no question. So ASI questions follow the same pattern as QASI questions. The only difference is that there is no question word, no Q. Yes or no questions follow this ASI pattern. For example, do you have any pets? Yes, I do. No, I don't. Does it rain a lot here? Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. Choice questions also have the same pattern. For example, does he prefer coffee or tea? He prefers coffee. A choice question is a question which has just 2 or 3 answers. Okay, right, let's see if you can make the questions. If the answer is, I prefer the red one, what's the question? Start with which. Which one do you prefer? Did you get it right? Let's try another. The answer is, I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. So, what's the question? Here's a clue. How many brothers and sisters do you have? If the answer is, she likes pop music, what's the question? Start with what kind. What kind of music does she like? Next one. He goes to school in Nottingham. What's the question? Where does he go to school? Now this time we're using past simple. If the answer is, I went to Paris for my holiday, what's the question? Start with where. Where did you go for your holiday? Next one. I saw the Eiffel Tower, Notre Dame, and the Louvre Museum. What's the question? Start with what. What did you see in Paris? Now some yes or no questions. If the answer is yes I did, I had a wonderful holiday, thanks. What do you think the question might be? Here's a clue. Did you have a good holiday? Last one. Yes, I spoke French every day. What's the question? Did you speak French?